So I mean, you work in 2 to 3 jobs, I guess, from that 1997 point onwards. Um, you focus mostly on nursing and stuff like that. Just tell me how your life was prior to that moment in 2006.
It was good. Good. Really good. Own place, self-sufficient, taking care of both of my daughters. Didn't have to worry about even going to court for child support because I had everything that they needed. Really didn't have many worries. I was working, up until the accident, I was working 2 different, well, almost full-time jobs and a part-time job. Because I was doing nursing, plus I was working out at Tessie Plastics. And then I was delivering the pizzas for Domino's, just to make extra money. My kids didn't want or need for anything, so.
Where'd you do nursing?
I've done Finger Lake Center for Living, Auburn Nursing Home, Cuba County Nursing Home, hospice care, private intern patients in home.
And what month was the accident in 2006?
May.
May. What brought you there? And just take us through it, where you
Well, I was also volunteering on the Policy Council for Cuba Seneca Action Agency. My youngest daughter was in the Head Start program. It was the end of the year. They decided just their class was going to do something special for the class. They decided to make it a roller skating party. And I guess my balance isn't what I thought it was. And I fell, and when I fell, I fractured a couple of the vertebrae in my spine.
And so just take me through the recovery process. I mean, when you fell, I mean, did you think that it was bad? I mean,
at first, I just thought maybe I bruised my bottom because that's where I fell, and then I went to stand up and I couldn't. So I made one of the other parents that were there, I made her call my mother and have her come to get my daughter because they wanted to call an ambulance. I didn't want her to see me. I know, being in nursing, I know their protocol. They have to strap you down to the stretcher. So I didn't want her to see me like that, so my mom got there. They took me to Auburn Hospital. Auburn Hospital wasn't equipped for my type of injury. They considered it a construction worker's injury. They said instead of me falling 3 inches off the ground on roller skates, it was more like I fell off a 3-story building. They transferred me from Auburn to Syracuse. I was in the hospital out there for about a month. I had to wait for them to make a custom fit back brace, the turtle shell. They tried some of everything. Physical therapy 3-4 times a week. Bone stimulator, TENS unit, pain medication, muscle relaxers. Nothing. My back just wouldn't heal. First bone I've ever broken. It wouldn't heal. Turned around. In 2008, they decided it was time because I was getting compressed fractures above and below the initial cracks in my spine. So they did the surgery, and they had to do the 2 titanium rods, take out 6 of the vertebrae and replace them with the little wire cages, and they're all held in with screws. So, and they said, with the limitations I have to work, I won't return to work. Not anything that's gonna be substantial enough. 3 to 5 pound weightlifting, only on my feet for 10-15 minutes at a time. Because if not, then my spine, even now, even though I've done nerve blocks and everything, I'll lose feeling down one of my legs if I'm in the same position too long. Like, even sleeping is ridiculous for the first couple of years. While I was before they did the surgery, and probably almost a year after the surgery, my life was in a reclining chair. I couldn't walk without a walker or a cane. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't lay flat, I couldn't turn around while I was sleeping.
That was Cross Hospital? That you were transferred
University.
to? University. And how long did it take for the turtle show to get
I was in and out of it for a lot of that time. They were just trying to keep me comfortable and keep me laying as flat as possible until they did it, because they had to custom make and fit it was a hard white plastic that velcroed on both sides. They had to custom fit that. After I remember being there after probably a week or so, because like I said, they couldn't do anything. They didn't want to do the surgery right away because it was too risky of being paralyzed after the fact. So they were trying everything before having to do the surgery. So I think by the time they started weaning me off from the pain meds from when I initially broke my back, it was probably a week and a half, 2 weeks. And when I was fully awake and they stopped giving me so much to make me sleep, basically, the turtle shell was already there. But then they had to have me walk, and it was like I couldn't walk on my own. I had to use the walker in the hospital. So.
Now, can you drive at all?
I can, but only very short distances. Like, sitting in one position too long hurts. If I'm driving, so you guys know Auburn roads, I hit a pothole, that can automatically send my spine into a pain that I can't even describe it. Like, I'd go through childbirth, and I had all back labor, and it was nothing compared to the pain that I'll get just going over a pothole.
And when you said your life was, in a reclining chair, I mean, about how long would you say that period was in your life?
Pretty much from 2006 to 2009. Like, the only time I'd really go out, and said if I had to, it was always with a walker, until after I did. Like, I begged the doctors to let me do extra physical therapy instead of twice a week. Then they switched it to 4 times a week, because it started getting to the point where I'd have good days and bad days. And they said my only hope, or expectation rather, was to hope for more good days than bad days out of a week. So.
Alright, so tell me about your relationship with your mother. Just so I understand that.
Best friend.
Yeah. And I understand she was a huge presence in your life. Can you just...
Yeah. As soon as I broke my back, so the reclining chair was in her living room. Me and my girls moved in with her to Genesee Gardens in her small little 2-bedroom apartment. I couldn't work. I could no longer afford my place. We moved in with her. Said the reclining chair was right there in her apartment. She was there all the time unless she was at work. And then, even then, she would make arrangements. If one of my sisters couldn't be there, she'd make arrangements for even one of her friends from work to be there. It's just so that way if I needed to get up, because I couldn't even get up by myself to walk into the bathroom, because I couldn't get up out of the chair alone, so.
Okay. And she passed 2 years after the incident. Can you just tell me about the transition?
She passed, actually, it was 2 years after I actually had the surgery.
Oh, okay.
So, because she passed in 2011. So it was like 2 years and a couple of months after the surgery. But like I said, the first year and a half after the surgery was just trying to strengthen my muscles, trying to get me to walk without using a walker. Even now I have to walk using a cane sometimes. The wind, rain, weather. I sleep too long on one side, I'll wake up and I'm stiff. It just all depends.
Tell me about the transition in 2011. I mean, you were just 2 years out of your surgery.
I was still going through for disability. Basically, my mom was supporting me and both of my daughters, except for the support I got from my youngest daughter's father. He really stepped in and, anything she needs. He wasn't going to have my mom do it. He stepped in and took care of everything for her. My mom worked, came home, took care of me, helped take care of my kids. Best friend, hero, just everything.
How'd she end up passing?
She had a tumor on her aortic valve, so she had to go in for surgery. She had had it for years. It just never did anything. Didn't grow, never caused her any pain. She had it monitored every 6 months. Within a 6-month time frame, it grew from about 3 millimeters to about 7 centimeters. And it was growing in width and diameter going down to her stomach. So they had to do the old-fashioned type valve replacement where they called surgeons in from all over. She went into St. Joe's. They put her under. She was pretty much an anesthesia virgin. I was her last child. She had her tubes tied after me. So, and I don't even know if they used real anesthesia back then. They put her under and she just never woke up after.
Now, just when she passed, I understand that you had some trouble, finding a place to stay.
She had gone over a few weeks before her surgery, I think her nerves. She wanted to make sure that me and the girls were on her lease in Genesee Gardens. That way she wouldn't have to worry about, I couldn't work, I wasn't getting disability payments yet. I was getting food stamps and Medicaid for my daughters, and they were giving me $180 every, twice a month for social services. Turned around and she was trying to make sure she had it set that way I wouldn't have to worry about it, because $650 a month, everything included, not have to worry about that. But somehow they didn't, before she went in for her surgery, I guess there's a paper she didn't get back over there to sign, so she couldn't add me onto the lease. Because I wasn't on the lease, and they said they let me stay, I don't know, probably 2 months after she passed away, a month and a half, 2 months. But then I had to move out by July 1st, which was my youngest daughter's birthday. So I went to live with my sister.
And prior to moving in with your mother, where'd you live?
I've had a couple of different apartments around here. Just before that, it was North Street.
And so after that, you moved here. Just tell me about some of the struggles. I understand you're living on the fixed income.
Yeah, I receive disability now, and I get the payee checks for my daughters. But even that's only $1,200, $1,210 each month. I have Medicare, and the girls have Fidelis insurance, that because my income is so low, usually Medicare charges out of your checks. But technically, I don't know, I guess I'm supposed to be eligible for Medicaid, but Medicaid pays my Medicare premium, so I just have the Medicare. If it wasn't for my sister, I don't know where I'd be. With $1,200 a month, having to pay rent, NYSEG, just basic necessity bills, it doesn't cover it. So both of my sisters, my mom had a couple small life insurance policies. Since she was still employed at the time of her death, the hospital gave us a year of her salary. My sisters both said they didn't want any, and we decided to start looking for a house. So my sister ended up she actually took a second mortgage out on her home equity, something she took out on her house, because her house would have been paid for in 5 years, and instead now it's 15. And I ended up getting approved for disability at that time. So all the money that they had sent me, because disability gave me a year back pay, with the money that they sent me, the life insurance money, and then my sister pretty much doubled everything and her husband helped buy this house with all of our inheritance and everything. So that way, she kind of like stepped in. She knew my situation. She knew I was just at a loss. I didn't know what I was going to do. I just lost my mom. Now I'm faced with being basically homeless. She's got a small house out in the country with one extra bedroom. My other sister has a house that she has an extra bedroom. So at first we were going to try to figure out a way for me and my daughters to stay in both. But after like 3 days, I couldn't take not being with both of my girls at the same time. So me and my youngest daughter that were staying at one sister's house went to my oldest sister's house, and it became all three of us staying in one bedroom. And of course, we used the rest of the house too, but we were all in the one bedroom for, gosh, we moved in here on my mother's birthday, October 16th.
And again, what year is that?
2011.
And you know, you talk about the $1,200 a month, essentially. Just how have these and do you pay rent to your sister? Okay.
Yeah, like pretty much everything is in their name.
Okay.
I just pay it to her, and you know, unlike most landlord-tenant relationships, you know, kid's birthday or something, if I'm short, she covers it out of her pocket. Basically, it'd be like me going to borrow money from her. But I know she's got a lot of out-of-pocket expenses for a year.
Now, yeah, again, the $1,200 a month that you mentioned, you know, you have to pay the rent, the nice site bills. Had these struggles affect onto your children? Like, is there things that you have to cut back on in their lives that...
Oh, absolutely. Thankfully, I was blessed with two amazing children that they understand. They went from living one way to having, we could go anywhere, we could just be sitting around bored. Can we go someplace? We go shopping for the day. If they wanted something, they had it. To going to having, being told, no, I don't have the money, I can't get that for you. Just amazing. They don't really complain. I might get the, oh man, when they want something, but other than that, like, they pretty much just know it's just not possible. But
are there any extracurricular activities that they want to do in school that sports cost a lot? I mean...
Actually, my oldest daughter was asked to do the ambassadors group.
What's involved in that?
She was going to go to across seas with, it's the student ambassador program. You have to pay, I think it was like $500 deposit, and then they raise the money doing different activities, bottling can drives, car washes, things like that, bake sales. It's all stuff that the parent has to set up, though it's nothing is through them. So trying to do that individually, you know, she would go out and, you know, mow somebody's lawn or rake their leaves up, shovel for them, things like that, but she wasn't making enough to even save for it. So she couldn't go. She was going to go to Italy and study over there for it, and she would have only been gone for like a month and a half, so I'm kind of relieved she didn't go.
Can I say Annie's in the house?
No, honey, let her stay in there.
And that's your 17-year-old, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. And was that this year, or?
That was actually a year and a half ago.
And that's through Auburn High School?
Actually, they do it all over the country. It's not just the high school. It's based upon a student's grades. She's always been extremely high honor roll. She won the NAACP Promise Award a couple years ago for excelling in school and trying to, you know, I want her to do everything I didn't do in school. Yeah, I skipped school. She doesn't do that. Just basic normal kid stuff. She went from being a kid to an adult real quick. Because I couldn't really help my mom out doing things, she stepped up. So my injury affected her way back then. She kind of stepped up, and instead of being 5 years older than her little sister, she's acting like she's 10, 15 years older, trying to guide her in the right way. Because I was stuck in a recliner. I couldn't do anything. She wanted to go outside to the little playground in Genesee Gardens. My daughter would have to take her out there. My mom, she would go out when she could, but my mom was over 60 years old at the point of the surgery. So it's not like she gets home from work all day long. She doesn't want to sit outside in the hot sun at the playground either. You know what I mean? She would, but then she'd come in. I couldn't make dinner, so she'd have to come inside to make dinner. So my oldest daughter was like, no, I'll stay out here with her, and she would watch her.
Okay.